Well, I made another video on how I drive this car with a bad fuel regulator, but that's pretty much not the case. Oh, and I got a hood stick this time so my hood stays up. So, the first thing I did when my car would do the start, sputter, stall was, this is the last thing I expected. I looked at the vacuum lines. There was no leaks. I replaced a bunch of parts on this car, including this temp sensor, air temperature sensor. It's brand new. Didn't do anything. Didn't solve the issue, not whatsoever. New fuel pump. I went part swap crazy on this car. So today I'm going to show you how to not go part swap crazy. So the first thing I did was I followed this vacuum line, which leads right down to the fuel pressure regulator. And what I did was I just simply disconnected it, like so. And it just pulls right off. No tools needed. And the next thing I did was I took some tubing I had. It's about 1/8 diameter. And this has a broken gauge on the end of it. This gauge doesn't work, but I just used it as a plug. And here's what I simply did. I took this tubing with the end plugged off, and shoved it onto this. There we go. That way no dust or dirt or debris gets sucked into there, because that's a vacuum line. It's a suction line. So now it's plugged off, and I just simply took the, you could probably cut this tubing shorter and just have the plug sit right here or whatnot. I just let it sit like that. When I would start the car, it would start right up, run every time. No check engine light, no codes, no nothing. It purred like a kitten like this. Next thing, I put some 91 octane gasoline in this car. Only. Exclusively. And I also put a little bit of seafoam and fuel stabilizer in, and fuel system cleaner in to clean the fuel injectors out. Now, running the car like this, basically the fuel regulators will wide open. So it's going to run a little rich. A lot of people said, well, you have to go to Honda and get a computer and a fuel pressure regulator. Well, if you look at this regulator right here, this is why the fuel regulator made sense to me, but the computer did not. So there's no wires running to this fuel regulator. It's just, here's the line that comes from the fuel tank, from the fuel pump, plugs in right there. And basically what the regulator does is the more vacuum it has on it, the more fuel it sends through this return line back to the gas tank, and that's it. It's all controlled by the vacuum system. Computer has nothing to do with the fuel regulator. Huh. Crazy. So I ran the car like this for about maybe 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. Max, running only 91 octane gasoline in it. After all that time of wondering and running the car like this with the rich fuel mixture, I did the reverse of what I did. I simply took this off, and then I just took the vacuum line that goes from the fuel pressure regulator, and I just simply plugged it right back in, how it's supposed to go. And there you have it. Started the car, drove it around for a little bit, turned it off, went to the grocery store, came back out, started the car started right up, ran fine. No thump, 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 thunk, or anything like that. Pretty much became a thing of the past. Please note, some people would say, well, let's put a higher fuel pressure regulator on here that's rated for a higher pressure. don't want to do that because your fuel rails and your fuel injectors, they're under this guy, and fuel injectors and fuel rails are expensive. I'm trying to save you money, not waste it. If you do change the fuel regulator on this car, go OE, because you could damage your fuel rails and fuel injectors. Now you're probably going, gee, why would you run the fuel regulator wide open through the fuel rails into the fuel injectors? Well, here's a little learning lesson for you. This gets real hot. The fuel injectors are right there. Okay. There's a thing called heat soak, and when gasoline is stuck in these lines and it's not moving, and it's the summertime, the top of the engine gets real hot, heat rises, I mean, all those factors. The fuel, the gasoline, turns into this like clay stuff, and what happens is it clogs the fuel injectors. Now a lot of people will go, well, Honda has this fix of changing the PCM out and a higher fuel pressure regulator. You don't want to do that. Number one, that's too expensive. $1,800 I was quoted from Honda to fix this, but I fixed it myself instead. And last time I checked, the fuel regulator in this car does not have wires running to it. It has a vacuum line. The computer has wires running to it, no vacuum lines. So, well, you tell me. $1,800 versus doing it myself, spending maybe $5 on parts, which was just the fuel injection cleaner, and 91 octane gas. That was it. So that's pretty much it. Any questions, any comments, leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to. You don't have to, but that'd be cool.